train derailments are not very common in Ghana, so it was quite a surprise when on Monday morning, residents of Alajo in Accra woke up to find out a train had derailed there, leaving 3 people with minor injuries, but no deaths recorded, thankfully. So I want you to tell me the current state or picture of Ghana's railway system.
Government is not really concerned about the railway system in the country. They are mostly focused on our roads. Much of the country's resources go into the maintenance of roads and other things. But the railway, we don't hear much about it. We don't even know where some of them are. I don't even know if the trains in this country are working, or I just don't know. Because we don't hear anything about the trains. Some of the railways have closed down, others are not in good shape.
I didn't grow up knowing how well the railway station works, but I think it's bad, and the government should I think all the trains in Ghana should just be parked and new ones should be, brought on board, because it's bad. I've seen it a lot. You see people hanging on trains and all that. So if there has been an accident with a train, I think the government should really take a look into that.
I don't think it's putting enough efforts in making railways, because I hardly see them around. And I think if he's to put much more into it, there'll be easier transportation. It will make transportation easier, like the way they have railways underground transporting people in China, US. Yes.
Yeah, it is a very good way, a convenient way of transportation. So I would suggest that the government should, look at that part of our transportation system, because it will really help. Because when the railway system is developed well, trucks, transporting things, by trucks and those long trailers and other stuff, it will reduce, because we can transport so many goods, by rail.
So lots of you are commenting on that particular story. It was quite a scare for many of the people living around that area. Thankfully, no lives were lost. So let's hear what you've been saying. Kwesi Boateng Ayipa on Facebook says, the state of our railway lines are not the best, but recently at my place, Joso, I have seen some contractors demolishing old rail lines to give way for the construction of new ones. I believe it's some form of government effort to revive the railway sector. Okay, Barima Kubaji from Jinjini says, it's just as redundant and wobbling as the government we have currently. Nothing has been done after all the plenty talk and the appointment of a minister and 2 deputies. All the promises made have been shelved, as is in the case of many others. James Abusanga says, I don't even know that there's a railway system in Ghana, as the only trains are available only in Accra and its environs. And Benford Richmond says, come and see the railway line from Awaso to Dunkwa on Ofin. You will regret being a Ghanaian. God have mercy. Bayer Jeremiah says, I never knew Ghana has a railway, how much more their state. And Prince Nuruddin Balmir writes, very deplorable nature. Government must do something to save human lives. Judicious Odro Eric says, now it has moved from road to rail accident. Asemo, our current situation is very poor and something needs to be done. Sadat Larry Kokroko says, poor and not good at all. Death trap. And Chumesi Amano Reynolds writes, poor railway, God have mercy. Joseph Michael says, only big promises. Where's the Minister for Railway, Joe Gatti? And Michael Edu says, poor, just poor. So those are some of the comments there on that issue about the derailment of the train there at Alajo. Let's move on to the next topic. And Saturday's bout, titled Make or Break, saw Brima Kamuko, alias Bukom Banku, ending his unbeaten record to Samir Basti in a knockout. Most Ghanaians are super excited about the defeat of Bukom Banku, not because they hate him, but some say he was overrated and too loud. Others also say that he lost because he had bleached, and other sections also say that he lost because he meddled in politics. The question I put to you is, why do you think Bukom Banku lost?
I think he's actually proud, he's overrated. He talks a lot, boasts of what he can do. Usually, I think before the fight, he was calling the guy a child and all those things. I think that's why most Ghanaians are happy about his loss.
Every fight, he makes a lot of noise. That he's Ghana's Mayweather. He has all these ideas that okay, he's the champion. So I don't think he has been doing much of a training. The other guy, I think looking at the two, I think the other guy has more. How do I think? He looks more primed to win the fight than Bukom Banku.
I think he's too new and he's not training. That's why they're beating him. That's all I can say. He always come around and talks and make a lot of boxes. But for me, I think he didn't train enough.
I think most people are excited because he's too loud, and well, recently he used to maltreat women, slapping women, beating them up and other stuff. So people, and he was claiming he's the undefeated. That is true. And Ghana, I don't think there is any boxer who is famous than Bukom Banku. He's famous. But on the day, I think Basti was better and Bukom is aging.
And Bukom is aging. That's the opinion of one of those on the streets of Accra. Let's hear what those on Facebook and social media have been saying. Nasir Hassan Yayima says, this man brags too much, attacking women a whole lot. I think he learned some lessons from this embarrassing defeat. I'm sure he knows. I'm sure he knows it's only God that's the ultimate. Africa Mayweather turned Bukom Mayweather, not even Ghana Mayweather. It serves him right. Oh, Barima Kubaji from Jinjini says, Bukom Banku is a braggart, and I believe that's the cause of all the fun people are making of his loss over the weekend. I think, however, that those acts of him have promoted Ghana boxing pretty much, and so Ghanaians must let him be. Good advice there. Now, judicious Odro Eric says, because he bragged too much as a village champion, he was arrogant, thinking that no one else can defeat him. He actually met his meter that day, and I think this defeat can bring him down to respect. And James Abusanga writes, Ghanaians may be excited because Brian Makomoko brags too much, not only on the boxing in the boxing ring, but also publicly brags after using abusive words and assaults his innocent Ghanaians. Joseph Dakora writes, Bismarck Sapon says, it's because of his involvement in Ghanaian politics. My advice to all celebrities is that focus on your career and do not be used by these politicians. Governor Gboli says they are releasing tension. Most Ghanaians supported Banku, but when the table turns, they behave as if they are against him. Gilbert Sam says, I hate people who talk too much, and I also don't respect others, That's why I'm happy Bukom Banku was defeated. And Douglas Opoku says, because he is sabi too known. Bundasi monkey. Oh, I don't think that's a good thing to say about him. Edward Ofori says, because he followed John Mahama into defeat, so he shall also be defeated. Those who follow winners shall also be winners. So those are some of the comments coming up on our Facebook page there. Finally, a 17-year-old boy from Missouri in the United States has sued his parents for deliberately making his life miserable by giving him an outdated and prejudicial first name to make him a designated scapegoat. He filed a civil lawsuit against his parents for naming him Gaylord. So tell me, will you sue your parents for a name they give you but you grew up to detest?
I won't sue my parents for a name that I've grown up to find out that I don't like. I mean, I could easily change it once I have the ability to, or that choice is open to me. I could just change it. I wouldn't have to sue my parents if I realize that I don't like that name.
Oh no, I won't sue them, but sometimes the name they gave to her is too red, and sometimes how the name sounds is something else. For example, my parents gave me Sewa, and every environment that I find myself, they'll say that because of your name, that's why you're behaving like this, you are harsh, you are strict, you are a whole lot of things. But you shouldn't sue your parents for doing such things or giving you a name like that.
I won't sue my dad or my mom for giving me
the kind of name they gave me. For instance, I'm Fortuna, and to me, I understand that Fortuna is fortunate, to be fortunate about something. So if a child is being given a name that he grows to find out that the name is having an impact, and the best thing to do is to confide in his or her parents or argue with them a little. Then you just let them know the reasons why you don't want to. So the best thing to do is to swear an affidavit.
Me, I won't sue them. I don't think it's the best way, because probably you don't know the reason why they give you that name. Probably that name was after your great-granddad, and probably they are so dear to them, and probably they have to give you that name. And at times our parents do make decisions, probably it's out of mistake, they didn't know. So me suing them, I won't probably know. I just rather seek for other solutions, probably psychological centers, to find ways of dealing with these issues around me. But that is what I will do.
Well, I mean, suing, that may be a stretch, but I do know that names hold some value and meanings. But Gaylord, I don't know. Let's see what you've been writing on Facebook. Now, Buyer Jeremiah says, no, I wouldn't do that. I will let them perform another naming ceremony for me with a new or different name. Maybe they gave me that name after the situation they found themselves in at the time. Nuruddin Banku says, suing them may not be a panacea to the problem, but rather requesting for a change of name through the right channel could help matters more. I couldn't agree with you more, Nuruddin. And Nasir Hassan Yaima says, no, I wouldn't do that. I think the right thing to do is to approach them and tell them you no longer like the name and give them your reasons. Judicious Odro Eric says, not at all. It's absolutely unnecessary, because it will be better for me to change it through the swearing of affidavits than to sue them in court. And Ben for Richmond says, some names are not attractive at all. People can hate you just because of your name. Good name is better than riches, LOL. Veronica Abna Fantiwa says, ha ha ha, some names are appalling. You sometimes get embarrassed with it, but I think you can change it when you grow. And Safti says, right? Yes, he's right. And I will do the same to my parents if they named me, and then I'm not even sure anyone could mention it in my Ashanti language. Prince General Melo Carter says, then I have to sue for my Allo Prince. Hustling Kwa, where is this? Hello, Prince. Okay, Oheneba Miyagi says, focus on stuff that's going on in Ghana instead of giving you... Well, I mean, this is the lighter side of the news, my dear Oheneba. Prince Nuruddin Bawumia says, very interesting. If you try this in Africa, master, you try your life. And Abdul Karim Basid Bawa says, if you try this in Africa, my dear, you are on your own.